What are the four elements? What do you understand as the four elements? This should be easy, right? We got the water, fire, air, and earth, right? The four main components of what composes everything around, part of it, right? Those four elements. And why are they so important for us humans? Especially for our soul, our psyche, our component of what makes us, how we can we interact with the world. The thing is, people forget that they are not just mere elements of chemistry or water in the sink or the air in the fan. No, my guy, this is a part of you, especially your, and I'm not going over the elements about the body because Zherka already did it. Okay, I will go in other perspective. We'll start with the symbolism, right? So let's pick up first water. What is water? Water is not just the sea and the rivers, okay? Water has a representation. Oh, yo, these fucking ads, bro. The symbolism of water, bro, is exactly about emotion, intuition, fluidity, the subconscious, healing, adaptability type shit. Often associated with the feminine principle and the moon. And why we'll go over that, right? And you gotta think about what when you observe the ocean, the rivers, what can you observe actually without learning anything? Forget esoteric, forget any book you read. When you look at the water in the ocean, what do you observe, bro? You can observe the flow of life in itself, the motions, when it comes, when it goes, the waves, 1 wave, 2 waves, 7 waves. There's a very beautiful quotation about how life can come in 7 waves at a time, bro. And when you see this flow of life about the emotions, it embodies the sensitivity, the sensible part of us, right? Yeah, you can go, and this is why it's related to the feminine principle, because the sensibility of it, it's the empathy and the ability of connect yourself deeply with others type shit. When you observe the water from the surface, and when you put your head down, if you go a little bit further from the land, and you observe a completely dark abyss of deepness that dips into the subconscious. That's what it means. That's why it's related to the subconscious. Okay. Water being this way, and when you see the waves, the flow, when the water is going by the river, the water is not actually going through the rocks. What is water doing? Water is going within the rocks, by the cracks of the rocks. So water doesn't need to have a straight path. The fluidity, the flexibility of water is what the representation in human is, you having a way of living that will not break you psychically, because you already know if physically you have a weight that can break your arm, you're gonna put a lower weight, right? Exactly the same when it comes to the mind. You gotta understand it, because once you try to deep in a bond with whatever knowledge you're trying to find, if you stuck to it and if you find something that can break that, most people stop there from fear. But you have to use the element of the water to be flexible to go through it, because something much deeper will be there. And do not fear. Everything will always lead you to one thing, and that is God, bro. 1000%. And pick up all these parts, because we will understand this in the end. Every bit of what I'm saying, okay? And the flexibility about being able to adapt to the situations when the river is coming down the mountains and goes around the rocks, that's being adaptable, and is about having the wisdom to do it is the difficult part for humans, you know, to flow through resistance of life type shit. And why would you need that? Why would you need that ability, that water ability within you? Because, and it's related to the feminine principle, because water heals the, not just the emotional depth of connection, but the process of introspection to access the deeper parts of the psyche. Water, the subconscious. Okay, we can have, let's put it like this, we can have dark sides about the elements too, like positives and negatives. And the shadows of the water would be, for example, the emotional overwhelming, the passivity about life, right? The mood swings, the escapism, because you can observe the water calm, but you can also observe the water coming like a tsunami, right? So it can be destructive as much as it can be super serene, right? Like you're in some type of bliss. Am I speezing or what? And fuck, I don't want the sound too much. Yeah. And it can, I don't like this song. Let me change the song. Yeah. And the shadow of the water would be this, the overwhelming of the emotions that one can deal with. And sometimes you gotta pause yourself. Life, that's what is about, being able to not transform, is not transformation. When I'm talking about the abilities of water type, I'm talking about the skill in itself. What I'm trying to say, how you not manage, is not manage that I'm trying to seek the word. How you master the element of water. Yes, that's the best example I can give you. And you, because you can become overly influenced by others or lose yourself in illusions and dreams if you're not able to dissect what water means and the emotional. It's why when you see a situation that can affect you particularly to the individual, you gotta let first the emotions tone down so you can see the picture as clear as day. Because if the emotions are always there, you're gonna always interact with it in an impulsive way. But there's a catch to it, because emotion is very needed, okay? And it's how you use the tsunami, and when you see the water when it's calm, it's how you use it and when to use it that you become a master of this element. Because people think that it's always about becoming stoic and never react. No, my nigga, it's not about that. It's about how to master the elements in itself and know when to use it. You know, people become stuck, and this is again the lack of knowing how to control the water principle. You cannot become like Earth, and we're going to Earth in a second, because all these four elements are super important, right? All of them have a place within your psyche. But again, picture the flexibility that water can have without losing yourself. Picture the amount of deepness and connection you can create to the world without losing yourself in dreams or without losing yourself to the world. So it's a constant battle between the inner and the external. And the water element, it's about fluidity, bro. You know, there's a bro, we all know the quote of Bruce Lee. Oh shit, I forgot the quote of Bruce Lee, but bro, you know what I'm saying. And yeah, and the goal of water would be emotional balance, intuition of self-compassion, and the ability to maintain peace in the calm when life comes with turbulence in the waters. Because if you're not a good sailor, if you're not a good pilot within the seas, you're gonna drown yourself. And we can later in another streams, because we can go so much deeper into other subjects about invisible forces around us, that we could go into the sirens within the ocean, the creatures that have the element type that try to attack you when you know you're using the element type when they are trying to attack you in your waters. And Zerk already talked about the how waters, why is water such a principle, a feminine principle, because the expression that we use when someone is born, what happens to the woman, she broke her waters, she breaks her waters, and new life comes in. So again, just a recap on water. It's about emotion, the emotional aspect of the human, intuition and fluidity, and the subconscious, because you can see the surface of something, and when you look down to the ocean, there's an abyss of, you know, of ocean behind it that you don't know and want to discover. And then the challenges would be how to not overcome your, or not, how not to overwhelm yourself with the illusions of the dreams within the unconscious. And the other side, from the external, with the waters, would be do not become naive about the emotional connections of it. And it's the balance with it, and how to navigate the world, how to use them. And that's the first one. That's water magic. Boom. Let's fucking go. That's water, bro. What do we have next? Bro, this is my favorite one. This is my favorite one. This is about fire. We can observe already. What's the symbolism about fire, bro? This is super simple, bro. Every time we see like a, you know, fire around us, what does this inspire us? Energy, electricity. A lot of people think that lightning is not, they think that it's a different element, but electricity, bro, comes from fire, bro. It's a subcategory of fire, of the principal fire, you know. And also another big symbolic meaning behind fire is what? Destruction. It's also linked to the sun, contrary to the water, which is linked to the moon and the feminine principle. The fire is the opposite, which is linked to the sun and the masculine principle. One is active, one is passive. We already saw Zerka go over this. Now, what do we see? What actually fire represents, aside all these adjectives, right? It represents that your vital energy of life, the spark of inspiration, and the power of will to live. That's what it means. It's very touched to the psyche, or the soul in itself. What breeds that motivation to go do it and do it, even if afterwards can come a dark night. You don't care. You can, once you master the element of fire. Imagine, the best way I can make the picture for you would be the element of fire is your purpose, is attached to the purpose of life. Because if you have a very strong purpose within life, and that comes from knowing the individual in itself, individuation, and have a strong identity about you knowing who the fuck you are, you can use this fire to go past through whatever you want in life. And it's both a creator and a destroyer. It's like the symbol of cycles of transformation and renewal, like we see the symbols of the phoenix, right? But forget the phoenix. I kind of see the phoenix kind of sus, you know, kind of feminine. I don't give a fuck about the phoenix symbolism. I prefer to see the fire in itself, like just how we see it, how we imagine it. I prefer to rather see the vitality, the fire within, than like the creatures, mythological creatures like the phoenix. And what does this what's the purpose of the fire element? It's about motivation and self-expression. It's about the inner coming out to the world. So the first one would be diving in, or if you're not the type of being an introspective guy, you will always be subject to the world's opinion or world's types of views about you. That's why the first one would be water. The second one is the mastery of knowing yourself and how to express yourself. That would be the best case scenario. A lot of people express themselves without knowing themselves because they just bouncing back in a reactionary way, right? So they don't do the original input of themselves. And yes, it's also about dynamic exchange, because how does the fire how can you imagine the fire spread or breed? Through inspiration. It starts to go across the field like wildfire. So the fire to become itself, you gotta light it up. You gotta light it up the first time, and once it starts to settle to something, it's gonna spread like wildfire. That's what means fire. The willpower of you is gonna be replicated in the others. That's simple. It's about the encouraging to action, and you by inspiring someone, you're gonna be inspired also. It's very attached to the pursuit of goals and determinations, right? And what would be the negatives or the shadow of the fire? And this is even my favorite, and I don't even like to say this, but I'm honest with myself. That's why I need the Father, because I'm a sinful guy, because I have some type of behavior, some type of, I don't know, bro, attachment to it's the one that I've always seen closer to me from all sins, right? The aggressiveness and impulsiveness, the anger, the wrath, the destructive aspect of the fire, the burnout, and can lead to overreaction, and pride, and domination of not being checked, or rather say unchecked. And the goal of fire is creating a balance between the assertiveness of creative expression with self-discipline. And this is what breeds leaders: the ability to inspire, to be inspired, and lead others positively. This is the element of fire, right? The passion in it. Boom, that's fire, bro. That's fire for now. What do we have more? We have air. Let's change the song. The recap of the fire is the symbols behind it. It's about passion, willpower, transformation, and energy, my guys. About the creative. You can be a creator, but you also can be a destroyer. If you do not check yourself, you're gonna be a fucking monster. But sometimes it's good to have a monster within, because without that monster, everyone gonna try to hate you alive. This world is raw. This world is not that beauty. It's not a fucking rainbow. People will always try to find a way to put you down in some type of way, to put you down emotionally, to put you down physically, whatever may be. The willpower is one of the tools, one of the sources of that a lot of people try to put down the carpet so you don't see it. A lot of people, when they see that someone has that willpower, that motivation, that strong of will that others cannot ever attain, because they are afraid to dive into themselves to understand who the fuck they are, bro, do not let them do that. Be yourself unapologetically, bro, and the world will tell you if you're doing good or you're doing bad. So do not be afraid of being your fucking self, because you already have enough demons around trying to siphon your energy around, bro. So always remember, bro, be yourself. Between all of these elements, the fire is the one that will never betray you in the right way, because at the end, the fire cannot do nothing against one, and that's the creator. But when you're in a bad situation, use the fire in your advantage. When others doubt you, when others think that you're a nobody, when people disregard you as a human in itself, use that anger in your advantage. And that would be what we call going through the gates of wrath. But the problem of wrath, the fire element, is you can become super destructive. And even Zherka admits this to himself, right? Sometimes the passion can overcome the goals or overexert ourselves. But bro, when I tell you that these people are so afraid to bro, you gotta remember where the fuck do we live in? We live in a gynocentric fucking world, right? What the fuck they want to do? They want to extinguish your man fire. They want to extinguish the manhood that you have. That's the fire principle. Never let them take the advantage of you becoming a fucking man. Forget whatever opinion you think will keep you in a straight path. No, forget that. Become a fucking man, bro. We don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna be me unapologetically. Cause I know that him will never let me down, bro. And regardless of what, if you do good or bad in this life, you're gonna get checked. Life will tell you. Others will tell you. Yourself even will admit to yourself. And never be afraid to admit when you're doing good and when you're doing bad, bro. And that's the fire fucking element, bro. That's my favorite one. No, you didn't, bro. I'ma go over. We still have to do. Air and earth. So you good, bro. You good. How to communicate with people. Why do you think people Zherka uses the hot and cold? There's more elements to it. What do you think comedy is? And once you understand the basics, and you understand, oh shit, the hot and cold is water and fire, and how they transform, how they transmute, how they can be used in what type of situations. The most important is when you know when someone lingers into the fire element and it's becoming more self-exerted on you, which element should you use, right? And there are situations where you can fight it with fire because your fire supersedes his. But if it's someone that you like, you want to appease the situation, to be neutral, to seize the fire, you should use water. If you want to instigate, would be air, right? But that shit would be evil, bro. I will not talk about that shit. Yeah, let's go to the water one, to the air one. Yeah. So, bro, air. What does air represent with us? What do you think? Like, when you watch, you're at the top of a mountain. What do you observe? What can you see? The air having effects within the world. A lot of the air element is very attached to the invisible world, right? To the mental side, and it's exactly that, bro. It's the thought, the communication, the intellect, right? The clarity, the imagination, not create, the imagination, the freedom. Because one thing is you being creative, another thing is you imagining. Because creative is like you're operating in a sense of action within your thoughts, and imagination is just the images coming. There's a difference. My clouds, bro. So what could you see within the clouds? But clouds is attached with water, though, in a way. And air is also associated with the mind. We already said that, with logic and the realm of ideas. So the air symbol, the symbolic meaning of air in like alchemy would be the mind's capability for logic, for reason, for objectivity, and creative thinking. Not creative like the fire, not creative like the fire, but creative in reason, within reason. And it's like a connection to knowledge and communication of how you can conceptualize and understand the world. So the purpose of air would be clarity for thought, and all the elements interact with each other. Okay, that's why when you see, for example, passion within coming too much, you can use the element of water for what? To clarify the image that you see of emotion, or whatever element you're feeling like closer to. You can use the element of air to adapt one perception of things, pretty much like water, but not in the same sense. It has the flexibility, but not for emotions, for reason, for logic in itself. How can you get that? I'm gonna do a simplistic example. Water would help you get to how to understand your emotions. Air would help you how to solve the equation, type shit. It has almost not the same. It's not the same, but has a particular common attribute like water, which would be the flexibility within different realms. One would be the emotional, the other would be the mental. What is the dark side of the elements of air? Would be the over analyzing, the detachment, the coldness, right? The scatter of ideas. When you see that expression of, oh, he's super airy, like in the situation that someone is navigating in their own thoughts, they are living in Namek in their own heads, right? Namek, like they went to another planet. It can lead to living too much in the mind, losing touch with your emotions, and practically like the practicality of life. And emotions would be water, practicality would be fire, and being stuck too much in the air element would be dead. Imagine an hippie, that type of shit. You're too airy, you're not that connected with it, and it comes to play what? Earth, the last part of the four elements, which plays a big component, how to balance the air element. Because you can see the four are intertwined, like the four are a mirror of each other: air and earth, water and fire. And the goal, your purpose with air would be clarity for communication, just not just communication for the outside, but communication of the inner, balancing intellect with the art, right? Because the passion would be the fire, and air would be to clarify the image that the passion wants to express to the world. So it's like a way to refine the way you can behave, right? It's a very good element to, you understand the emotions, you understand the passion, and once it comes here to behave or to communicate with the world, air is a very good way to mix the elements with them. And it's also associated with mind openness and that type of personality traits. But yeah, recap on the air would be symbolic meanings are the communication itself, intellect, and clarity and freedom. Because when we observe a bird, a eagle out there in the sky, it's like, oh damn, I wish I could have fucking wings. When we have those imagination thoughts, how could I escape um this fucking traffic, right? Type shit. So the dark sides would be becoming too detached from reality, and not being able to um do you remember when Zerka talked about how philosophers sometimes can be stuck within their ideas, like they become stuck in a loop? That would be the lack of understanding the element of air, because the philosopher knows very well about his concepts, but sometimes to see outside that perspective, it requires a capability outside the element of air. And we can see this very much in poets and some musicians and philosophers. They use too much of the air element, where they cannot come. They it's like it's not second-handed to them to have that balance. They become too stuck in that realm of imagination, and they cannot go outside that realm. So that's how would be my analysis of air for now. Next one, earth, bro. This one, bro, is what complements the earth, bro. This one is super simple. This one is like and remember, every element has its positives, negatives, and they play a very important part within. Maybe from the fire, it was the one that I spoke the most because it's the one that I like the most. But all of the elements are as much as important as every other element. And the symbolic meaning behind the earth element would be stability, grounding, right? Structure. We can also go into fertility. Oh yeah, and the earth would be the feminine and air would be the masculine. The earth is linked to the physical side of life, resources, foundations of existence. That's why it's so fucking important. And people try to see the representation of earth being the material world, the body, the tangible aspects of life, right? The principles of and also the principles of endurance, patience, reliability, providing a foundation which it's required to build something, right? As a creative, even if you have the passion, if you don't have that sense of how to build the founding blocks, you'll never be able to do it. And the purpose for earth would be for you to be grounded. And once you understand all elements together, once you become grounded, from the emotions to the passions fermented in the air, to start to build, you ground yourself from this. That's why it's the balance for the air, because the air is for you to detach yourself from the physical, being more mental, and coming back would be using the earth element to have more stability and prosperity within the physical realm, right? And helps you to manifest the ideas into reality that you actually wanted to, providing the support to sustain your growth. Because if you only stuck within the ideas and actually not translate them to the earth, you're stuck. But then, which are the dark sides? And this is why we see a lot of dark symbolisms and satanic symbolism touched to the material world, worshipping the material, which can lead to one of the worst types of behaviors a human can have, right? It's needed for you to understand that life, the world, earth was made, the realm was made by God. And you gotta understand that the earth would be the closest to both earth and hell, both heaven and hell, right? And the dark side of within personality, the dark side of the earth would be being stubborn, being too boxed. Because again, I made this the fourth because we always relate the square to what it is, the material world, but it's also the earth, the representation of it. And yeah, and the fire would be the triangle. And one thing within the material, for example, a sin that can be very seen within when someone is too stuck within the earth element would be greed, resources type shit, and laziness. Too much comfortable within the physical world. And your objective with earth would be grounded as a person, be present within every realm, has a psyche, has a whole, with the responsibility to balance between the material and the spiritual, and building that sense of secureness of where you belong, identity. That's why we see nowadays so much people unaware of their identity. That's why you have a lot of people that, oh, he's a man but he thinks he's a woman, or you think a woman, he thinks he's a man, or he's a kitten, or whatever may be, bro, right? Because it's this detachment from the material, and it can have very, very negative effects, because when we talk about the material, doesn't have just negative aspects. When we see the dark symbolism, no, come back, there's a positive side too. Your body is material, it's come from earth. That's what it is. The dense body, the physical, is earth, right? Our carbon, bro, we are earth. And the people always, when they see material world, they always go to the satanic side super quick. No, chill, breathe a bit. Before that, it's a positive to it. The mother earth type symbolism that they used to do back then, right? God gave us earth to live. Your body is earth, so respect that. Respect the temple. You gotta respect. For example, suicide is as much as a sin as killing someone, because you're killing someone. You gotta respect the body that God gave it to you. But again, how you behave with the elements comes from how about you understanding your traumas, your experiences, and your identity as a human within this world. But again, recap on the earth, bro. The symbols behind the grounding, stability, material, the material sides of life, physicality, fertility. That's why it becomes the feminine principle. It's the best element to balance out the air element when you're becoming two in the clouds. Again, you got it right, Pooh. When we're in the clouds is a metaphor for being stuck in our ideas. Let's wait for the ad is gone. And our purpose is to balance it out, to respect our body that God gave us. That if you love your parents, even when I start to talk with the atheists, even if they don't believe in God, bro, and they are in a bad place of in a bad mental state, bro, and they love their parents, you gotta bring them back to that, right, bro? If you have at least one small leftover of love about your parents, bro, respect them. Do not be a fucking coward. And bro, and yeah, I think this one is good for material, for the earth. So conclusion, bro. The unity of the elements is becoming the master, like that anime Avatar. You gotta be able how to bend every element within reality, because it's when you're able to work every element, it can bring you harmony within your life. Even if the external world could be in chaos, you would be able to understand these elements within to interact with the world and make the most out of it. So going through in a simplistic way, each plays an essential role in the alchemical transformation of the cell, creating a balance within the life through the emotions, which is water, through the action, which is fire, through the intellect, which is air, and to be grounded in presence, which would be earth. And the ultimate goal of this is to integrate all four elements in a harmonic way within oneself, creating a balance and align your spirituality. I don't like the word spirituality, but you know what I mean. To align your life the best you can. And that's the esoteric. I wouldn't, bro, probably most of you already know what this means, right? But for record, we're gonna start with this because I also want to record this on my channels. So these are the simple sides of the elements. And in numerology, you know, when they come to me, when yes, my date of birth is 4 blah blah blah, but the four elements were always present within my life. I've always seen this, and I've gave this example when I was playing football and I had a good team, a good teammate that he was a good player. He did a bad play, right? He could pass, he could have like passed the ball, but he didn't. And everyone around him was, yo, you, why didn't you pass the ball? Why are you doing that? Blah blah blah. And I understood how to get to the player in itself. It was not through fire, because he was already in fire, because after the bad play he started to, you know, going against everyone. Oh, shut the fuck up, blah blah blah. So he was in the fire mood, because he went to the shadow side of the fire. He exerted himself in action. He didn't saw everything clear. The emotions were up there. He couldn't see the picture clear. And me as a teammate, I understood, and I said, yo, my guy, what the fuck you're complaining about? You're much better than that. And what I did, I used water. I did not use fire. I could have said, yo, shut the fuck up, you fucking stupid bitch. You're the worst player I ever seen. That would be fire in exertion. But I used water to calm him down. What I did was connect with him, with the emotions, with the water, and said, bro, I know I've seen you play, that you're a good player. But come back to the ground, to earth, understand where the fuck you are, and realize within the intellect, the air, that what happened was you doing a bad play. This is not the world's fault. Boom. Those are the 4 elements within a play. And this is bending the elements when you're in communication. It's understanding the dynamics of how people are behaving around, you know, and know how to use the elements in a good way, because it did for me. I've always seen this like this, but I guess it can, I don't know if it's proven, but I've always had good feedbacks how people react to me when I communicate with people in this way, because you can in some way understand the dynamics of the room. And this is like the basics of alchemy that we all understand since we're like a child. But for some ways they try to water down the meanings of life. Within school, for example, how they created you like in a systematic type of way. So they change the terms of how you understand the human being, or you understand each other, the self and the others. And most people don't have the observation of how can I actually interact with the world in the right way. And bro, it's out there. It's the elements, and understanding the meanings of it. Becomes super simple for it, you know. And that was the 4 elements for now, bro. Let's do a little song.
Ela chega e desencana com passo bem show. Na festa do fim de semana, só rolê bom. Ela chega e desencana com passo bem show. Na festa do fim de semana.